My name is Sarah Lloyd and I'm from Wrexham, and I was born profoundly deaf, so I have been deaf since birth. I can lip read, I use sign language, I use my voice sometimes. I am a teacher of BSL levels 1 and 2 and work at the college here in Wrexham.
Could you explain to me your experience of accessing social services?
Oh yes, I've been in touch with social services for about the past 20 years. It's gone downhill the last 2 or 3 years. The social worker that we have, it's very difficult to get hold of her. The main difficulty is accessing the building because it's a locked door and there is an intercom system which isn't accessible to deaf people because it relies on using your voice. When you do manage to get into the building, there are no members of staff that use sign language, so communication is very difficult. It never used to be like that. At one time, you could just walk in, some of the staff there could use some basic sign language, but recently, the past few years, it's been very, very difficult. Not just for deaf people, because the intercom system is placed quite high up on the wall, so I would imagine that a wheelchair user would have difficulty with that intercom system. And also, it relies on you being able to read English to access the information there.
How would you improve the accessibility then to the building?
Well, firstly, I think all the staff base there should be able to use sign language. And I think they should have an automatic door that opens when you approach, and that the information they have there at the building should be more visible so that it would be easier for deaf people. And I think they should go back to how it used to be about 10 years ago, where you could just walk to the building, somebody would be there when you went in that was able to greet you in sign language. You were seen to straight away, but that's not happening now. And you seem to be allocated a very short time, 10, 15 minutes, or even if they would allow you to use an appointment system so that at least they would know that you were coming and somebody would be there to greet you at your appointment time. That would be a lot easier.
What would you say the biggest barrier is for you to, for accessing social services then?
Accessing the building. That was the biggest barrier. And the second barrier is that the staff don't use sign language. I think there are only 2 members of staff in that building that are there for the deaf community, and only one of them uses sign language. So if that person is off and the other person is there, then we can't communicate, we can't access, we can't be seen to because she doesn't use sign language.
So if you could say one thing that you would like to, one solution to improve social services, what would it be?
I think that the members of staff that work in that team can use sign language. And I think if they worked alongside with another person, Sarah Thomas, from North Wales Deaf Association, then it would be a real positive step forward for the deaf community here, because Sarah is very accessible and it would be a positive way forward because she is a fluent sign language user.